stopped, so now let's finish the Kovet Shiur. So the Kovet Shiur basically says, not like the Ktsos that says, not like the Ktsos HaChoshen that says what? That you can give inheritance on something, Kovet Shiur. You can give inheritance on something which you are muchzak on, even though you don't own it. Even though there's no ownership, but you still give it, you still can inherit it. And the Bechor gets a double share. And that's hard to the Kovet Shiur. So how can you acquire, how can you sell, how can you give over as a Yerusha, something you don't own, there's no kinyan on it. But according to the Ktsos, even Shvuah, even if someone took an oath, not doing Makire Kuna. A matana, somebody promises to give you a matana, and he takes an oath. He's not allowed to retract. So therefore, the receiver of that promise can give that as a Yerusha. That's it's hard for him to understand. Because since Shua doesn't do a kinyan, although you're muchzak in it, but you want zoich on it yet, so how can you give it over as a Yerusha? But the Kovet Shiurim found in Toys and Ksubas. Toys and Ksubas says that when the father promises the Kohen 5 shkalim with a shtar, he's meshabed himself with a shtar. Or with a shtar, or makire kuna. And Toy has a problem, how can a shtar work? Shtar doesn't work for movable things, for debt. For makne chamisha skol. Chamesh shkolim is the makne the chamesh shkolim, it's movable things, metaltali. So why I want to give over the 5 shkalim to makne to the kohen, and I wrote a shtar that I owe you the money, how can the shtar work for metaltalim? So he answered, Tosa says, since you toreach, you exert yourself to write a shtar, it shows that you have a stars, that you conclude in your mind that this shtar would work in maknet. So, and there are certain things that even by Amira works. So here is also, when you write a shtar on the 5 shkalim to the Kohen, since you exert yourself to write a shtar, you go ma meshabed nafshe, even though shtar doesn't work for money, for my metaltalim. To buy and sell metaltalim, which in this case is the money. Toshus adds, you also see by Maton Muetes, Rabbi Yochanan says, that even though the Maton Muetes didn't reach the hand of the receiver, but the receiver acquires it. They can take off Truman Maisa Mukamach on it. Even when it comes to his hands, he's coin it. Because it's also here. So comes the Kovet Shiur, what do we see from this Toshus? That there is a kinyan. Maton Muetes, when you have a prohibition to retract, or by our case, by Makir Kun, which is like Maton Muetes. So there is an acquisition. Where's the Maisa Kinyan? You don't need a Maisa Kinyan. There's a Gemigus Das here. So we put together Toises and Ksubas, 102, and our Toises would say there is a real Kinyan. The problem is, why can you retract? If there was a Kinyan, so why Toises is just a prohibition, but but you could retract? So he says no, it's because it was, since the object was in your hands, so it's like Chazal understood in the depths of your mind of a Gemigus Das, that you want a Gemigus Das to coin it with a Tnai, with condition, that as long as it reaches the other person's hands, you can retract. It's like a kinyan with a Tnai. But when you didn't fulfill the Tnai, you didn't use the Tnai. You didn't exercise the Tnai. So then when you give the Matonis Kuna to the coin, retroactively, the kinyan is the time when I was going with a makane. When I slaughtered the animal, right away I'm going with a makane. Without a Maisa kinyan. But the Gemigus Das was with a Tnai that before it comes to his hand, I could retract. But if I didn't, and he gets to his hands, here means that there's a point of cut, that now he owns it. Before you own, now he owns it. But what if not?
That's the Tanai that makes it able to retract.
What?
The Tanai makes it able to retract.
Yes. But doesn't mean there's no kinyan. Now where's it now? He didn't verbally say it now. So what's his name? The Kohen Shurim has used the language Kimlu leRabbanon. It's established to the rabbis shekavanos, that his intention was they were able to retract. It's also like Kirikuno, even though it was Gomer Makna right away. But the rabbis understood his das is that he wants to acquire with a condition, if he doesn't retract, until it comes to the hands of the Kohen. But if he didn't retract, it's originally retractively belongs to the Kohen. That's what's called a muhzak.
This is the same ones we had yesterday in the Daf Yomi and Gittin.
Yes.
On the intention of whether he changes his mind for the Gittin.
Yes.
After he gives it.
Yes. It's not the same. What you say is true, but I don't see the connection.
Suppose I didn't give it, always a good check.
Ah, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
It's what?
If you hold Goma Makne was good enough, without a kinaktis.
Without a Maisa Kinyan. Where's the Rashbam said you do Kinyan? Goma Makne doesn't say the Kinyan. Goma Makne is a Chiyah Gemurah. Doesn't say there's a Maisa Kinyan. It says that it works. How it works? You can say like the Kohen Shurim.
I want to say it was not moving.
Not Muchacha. Good.
You're going to say the rabbis are explaining the din derisa?
Yes. Ela the kosher. I'm reading now the Kohen Shurim in the second column on top. The left column and on top. Ela the kosher. We'll have it. Kohen Shurim, the left column on top. Elo de kosher. Okay, so Kohen Shurim gave a beautiful answer. And nobody before him explained. Because the Ktsoy said, there's no kinyan. And the Siva said, it belongs to the Kohen. And he says, no, it was acquired to the Kohen. There's no Maisa Kinyan. You bought it in Ksubas, you don't need. It's a complete Gmirus Das. If you don't need. Elo de kosher. He says, and this svara is a kasha. Kemoda Amrino, like we said, Gabe Safta. Who knows the story of a Safta? You know the story? Safta, it's a phrase in this chapter. It's brought down many times in this chapter, the story of the Safta. What is a Safta? There was this woman, an old lady, that she had a lot of money. And she said, I'm giving over my assets. What? Someone else said to her.
She's giving it to her and she will give
The
to
grandson gave all his money to the son. But he said, after her, I wanted to go to my daughter. That's cool.
He had a daughter that died.
And then she died.
And then she died.
Or whatever she sold.
And the husband came to claim it.
Right.
That's a story. So,
Kuf Chafei, Amud.
Kuf Chafei Amud Aleph.
Bet.
It's brought down a couple of places. But that's the story of Isafta. Isafta was that she received money until she dies. When she dies, it goes to somebody else. It's like the concept of Acharecha Leploini. We're giving you the assets as long as you're alive. And when you die, whatever's left over, it goes on to another person. Question is in the Gemara, it goes back and forth. is considered that when the old lady, the Safta, dies, Me'achsh already from right now, the one after her already acquired it right now. Because the story, what's the difference right now, is Me'achsh or not? The story in the Gemara that the one after her was a daughter that she died. And the husband wants to come and claim, says, is when she promised that the wife was alive. So therefore he receives it. Oh no, it's not Me'achshov. So then she's dead. The daughter is dead after the death of the grandmother. That woman is dead already. So there's nobody there to receive. So the husband cannot. And she didn't say that the one who will receive means the inheritors of the second guy. Second guy, well, the Gemara goes back and forth even on that. That's the whole discussion of the Gemara. But again, let's go over the story of Avayisafta. What? It's one of the things. This is one of the things the Gemara discusses. Kinyan Peres Kinyan Gufanab. Good. Baruch Hashem. Good. Now, so we'll continue on right now the Kovet Shiur. Elo de koshe kemo da'amrin legabei Safta. He says, the Svora, I said, it's hard, like we said by the story of this old lady, Gabei Safta, old lady, that she received assets, but for a period of time, as long as she's alive. When she dies, it goes to somebody else. It's like a gift for a time, period of time. A gift for a period of time, it goes to the second guy. From right now, already belongs to the second guy. Let's say what happens if the old lady sells all what she got. So it's finished. If she sells it, and there's no assets to give over when she dies, she destroys it, sells it, eats it, so then it doesn't go on. And anyone that gives such an advice, an old lady, is a Rosha, is wicked. That's what the Gemara says. But she could do that. Okay, this is the rules. So let's go back now to the, yes, what do you want to ask? If somebody will tell the grandmother, I'm giving you advice, all the assets you got, after your death is going to be gone. So what do? Sell it. And eat it up.
But if the money's left over, she has to give it?
No.
No, if she sells it?
No, she sells it, the money stays by her.
Not even the money, only the
and it goes to her children.
So no leftover? No leftover?
There's nothing left over, doesn't go on.
Even the leftover?
Because he says, whatever I give you, after you, those objects, those assets will go to somebody else. When those assets are gone, it's gone, finish.
I thought if it's left over money also.
No.
Only the object.
Yes. Yes, Rabbi Yosef, I don't hear you. So I'm giving over the king. I'm reading in the Kovet Shiurim in the left column, the top of the page.
What's wrong with this?
One second, we didn't read what's wrong. First tell you the story. The story is very simple. Well, this man that says, I want to give my grandmother all my assets. And after she dies, I want to go back to my grandchildren, my grandchildren, my daughter.
Her children.
His children.
Her grandchildren, his children.
Again, he's giving it to his grandmother. After her death, will go back to his children.
Her grandchildren. The woman's
Could
grandchildren.
be grandchildren.
No, it's a son, mother, and the granddaughter.
Right.
Okay? So it jumps. Normally, when a person dies, his assets go to who? To his children. Here, he gave it to his grandmother. And then, if she dies, it doesn't go to her children, it goes to his daughter or his children. That was the case. And it happened to be that his children was a daughter, One of the children was a daughter, and she died, and the husband wants to claim on the assets. Claim. That was the story.
Go to the sons first, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but if you have a son, if he doesn't have a son and he has a daughter, it goes to the daughter.
Why does he need to do this?
What?
Why does he need to do this?
He did that. Why? Because he feels bad for his grandmother. She's poor, and his children are wealthy. They don't need. They're strong. They're young. They can make their own money. Oh, it can be many things.
Well, maybe he's not happy with the son again.
Whatever it is.
Grandmother, after he gave the stuff to the grandmother, and when she died, they should go to her children, which is her mother.
Right, but the answer is no. He jumps the steps. Right. You can make that stipulation as a gift. That like a planning. Somebody says it's yours, and after you, when you die, it goes to another person. Not doing inheritance.
But the grandma has the right to sell it.
Yet the grandmother has a right to sell.
It's really hers when she gets it.
It's really hers. So now, Ela the kosher. He says, what we learn is true, we have a problem with this. What's our problem? Like we said by this old lady, since she can break away the gift through selling. If she sells it, it breaks away the gift, right? Yes. She can break her away. She can break away that chain through selling. We don't call the second guy after the death of the grandmother a holder of the assets. Those who hold, those who hold, the one who said to the grandmother, it's yours, and after you, it goes to this guy, means from right now I'm giving this guy after your death. It's not a gift, totally yours, and after you dies, whatever left over goes to him. Right now, it's not a Yerusha. Right now I'm giving it to you to a period of time which is unknown how much you're going to live. And after your death, right now, I gave it after you to this guy. It's called Ma'achshav from now. But yet still, if she sells it, she destroys that gift that he gave Ma'achshav to the second guy because there's only what's left over. So now the Kohen has a question. He wants to know what's the difference between that case and our case. Ochanami here also. Who is here? Here by Makire Kuna. Same thing. Yochol leafkia al yedei chazoro. He can destroy the gifts by retracting. So since he can destroy through chazorah, so how can the person consider the muhzak? That's the question. Why by safta? Since the safta could sell it and destroy the second guy receiving it. So although when she doesn't retract, it goes to the second guy, and the gift is already from retracting from the time when he promised it to the second guy right away in the beginning, Ma'achshav, from now. But yet, the Gemara defines that the second guy is not a muhzak, he's not a holder. So also here, why Makire Kuna, we define him as a holder? Since the giver can retract, he's not allowed to retract, but he could retract, like this old lady that can sell and destroy. So therefore that should be a reason that the receiver should be a holder, should be a muhzak. Same way by safta. Even though right now the second guy receives it. The gift is right now in the future. They're going to clarify how many years the old lady would live. And right now, I gave after her to this guy. But since she could sell and break it, I don't consider this guy a muhzak. I don't consider the second guy the receiver as a holder. So also here, in Svara, why the coin is considered a holder to give it to his son and he has a double share? Because as muhzak, since the giver, the Jew, can retract like the old lady can sell, so that should be a cause that the receiver, a coin, should not be a muhzak like by acharech or by safta, the receiver saying, guys, not a muhzak. That's the question. So he answers. No, so why by an old lady is not the same thing? That's the question. So if it's the same thing, why by an old lady, by Yisafta, the same guy is not a muhzak, even though there's maton ma'achshov. And by our case, by Kiri Kuno, we say the coin is muhzak. No, by ladies, the second is considered muhzak. The Gemara defines him not a muhzak. What do you want to say, Rabbi Yosef? Yes. So we want to know what's the chiluk. She says, "V'yesh lechalik." There is a split. V'yesh lechalik. The behold, the yochol afkia macharecho. Why she has the ability to destroy, to uproot the gift, one who gets after her. Even though when he says, I'm giving to the second guy I'm giving to my daughter right after the safta, and it's right now, if he says from right now, I know Mishumin is because, what do you mean? How can I destroy it even though I say Ma'achshav is already his? I know the reason, the real logic behind it is this. I know it is Mishum because. The Acharech Masha, when I say to the old lady, it's yours and after you, it goes to a second guy. Mashma Mashi Shtaya. You can understand that it means whatever's left over. V'imochar Arishoy. If the first guy sells it, Lo Nishtaya is not going to be nothing left. He says, after you, whatever's left over. And if the first one sells, nothing is being left over. Ubamesh lo nishtar, and whatever is not being left over, lo zochar echom oilom, the one after you never married it again. It's a question then the lingua. It was the lingua? Lingua, language. It's a question of a language. Since he says, I'm giving it to the old lady, after you, I'm going to give to this guy right now after you. What does after you means? Whatever is left. If there's nothing left, finish. Although I'm giving you right now, whatever is left. But there's nothing left, That's why since the woman can sell, the second guy is not a holder of it. Because it could be, he never held the money because it's only what is left he gets. There's nothing to hold because maybe he's the only one that's left and there's nothing left. Avol bought by us, by Makirekuno, by Tumatonomuetes. Avol benoisen al tnai. When he gives it as a gift on condition, if he doesn't retract, he could retract, and then he would never get it. But if he doesn't retract, and he didn't retract, the thing is revealed retroactively. Shekono kinyan gomu, that he acquired a complete acquisition. Veshapir mikrei muchzok, nicely is considered a holder, which means afshaya sofek, even though it was a doubt, maybe the giver will be retracted. So he's saying if you talk about a doubt, both is a doubt. The question was, we see by Safta, since she could sell, so it's not for sure I'm going to get it, it's considered not muchzak. Also here, since I can retract, so it's not for sure going to come to me. So therefore, I'm not a muchzak. So he doesn't answer here, you're not allowed, and you're allowed, because both places you're not allowed. Even by an old lady, one who gives that advice to an old lady is a Rosham. It's just not the right thing to do. He hears not the right thing, it is not the right thing. Say, no, the chilik is different. Ba'isafta, the language, the lingua, was what? Whatever's left over, you get. So you never got only what's left over. Because it's an acharech, or after you. Whatever, this assets, whatever after you. After you means after what you usage, it can be used, nothing there. So therefore, you never really got it. But by Makirikuno, the Jew gave it to the Kohen, and he has a permission to retract. So true, I could retract, but as long as I did, you really owned it retroactively. That's what you got, that's what you have. By a safta, it's not a question of suffix. Maybe I won't get it when I get it. By safta, I never got it, because I only got what's left over. I never got the object, only what's left over. But by Makir Kuna, I got it. So she have the option to break it. Tonight, to break it. So as long as you didn't break it, you didn't exercise that option. So it stays like retracting, and there was always you got it. You got the thing itself. So therefore, Mamухzak is not a real subject because it could be an isu, so you can say, Vana, you won't do it. That's the difference. You have the difference?
A little bit. Why don't we say?
Okay, people say nice. Again.
Why don't we say that since he can retract, so you don't have
You got it, but there's others not. So let's go over it again. What do you want to say?
Why don't we say since he can retract, therefore you also don't get nothing?
If they're about Sophic is the same.
Right.
The answer is no. It's a question of what you got. What the second guy get?
Once again, if he retracts, what does he get? Nothing.
By who? By Acharecho?
Matanos.
By where?
By
By
Matanos.
Matano. If he retracts, there's nothing. He can get nothing.
So you don't
Zero.
That's what you got.
But if he didn't retract,
Okay.
so I got what
The same thing you're going to say about the grandmother.
No.
If she doesn't sell, you'll get it.
No.
What do you know?
If it doesn't sell, you got it for a different reason, because that's what's left over. But you never received, the same guy never received the object. You only receive what's left over.
Okay, but if everything is left over. then you
Okay, but because everything is left over. But you don't have the intrinsic gift, ownership in the thing itself, because it's only what's left over. Even though he said me'achshav, but me'achshav, whatever it's left over. By makir kuno, I'm not giving you what's left over. If you don't retract, I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it to you. You just have an option to retract. It's different.
I hear you, but
Let's read over again the language. V'yesh lechalek, 3 lines on the top. V'yesh lechalek. There's a make a splitting between safta. There's not a muhzok, and by us the coin is a muhzok. Why? Why the grandmother can uproot that the one after would not receive nothing. Even though it's like she right away, right now, the giver gave to the second guy. She already got it. Says no, he didn't get it. When I say right now, and whatever's left after you get to get it after her. You're going to after the woman, the grandmother, you're going to receive mashma nishtayeh. It means I never gave him right now the object. I just gave him whatever's left over. If the first one, which is the grandmother, sold it, there's nothing been left. And whatever is not left, if there's nothing left, the second guy never merited ever. So therefore, whatever's left over, if there's nothing left over, he never merited.
whatever is left, you are muhzak. You are muhzak me'achshav.
So that's why you're not muhzak.
You are muhzak on what's left over. What do you mean you're not muhzak?
No, because could be nothing be left over.
What?
Because could be nothing exist.
Could be. So what? You still muhzak on whatever's left. You could definitely muhzak. That will never change. You are muhzak on whatever's left. How much? That we don't care. We don't know.
No, but could be nothing. It could be nothing. So it's nothing with the muhzak.
You're muhzak on nothing. Fine.
No, it's not muhzak. Muhzak, nothing is nothing. You cannot be muhzak on nothing.
No, you're
What do you want to say? 1 second. What? No mamoshus, right? You're not a muhzak. Aval benoisen al tnai, when I give on condition, im lo yachzabo, he didn't retract. Velo yichoz, he didn't retract. Igloi milsla mafred, the thing is revealed retractively. Shokona kinyan go, that I acquired a complete kinyan.
So wait a second, if the grandmother...
The shopping muhzak is considered nicely a muhzak.
According to you, if the grandmother does not sell anything, the guy still shouldn't get it because there was never muhzak on it. It's not his.
You will get it, but it's not a muhzak. You will get it, but it's not a muhzak.
Only when you get it, it will be a muhzak?
Yeah, when he gets it, obviously.
What's the mashab use then? There's no point.
What?
What's the use of mashab? If it's only when I get it,
The uses is if the daughter dies and the husband comes, I don't say that his yasa yasoyi is consider that his wife received it in her lifetime, and therefore when she dies, and when the grandmother died, the daughter already died, the wife already died of this husband. I don't consider that he's a yoresh of yoresh, because she already is zoichem echad. That's only enough Gemara Gemara brings down.
So how does the...
But not as far as muhzak is
How
not.
does the guy supposed to say that he should get it? Why, he should be, according to you, it's pshita that he should for sure not get it.
Who?
The husband. The rabbi in the Gemara says, of course he should get it. So you have a problem.
Why? What have a problem?
How does he
He's
get
not a
it?
muhzak, but he gets it. When he gets it, he gets it.
Again,
But he gets it because his wife received it while the grandmother was alive, while she was alive. When his wife was alive and the grandmother was alive, already then, at the time of the gift, she received it. She received the promise without being muhzak, that's all.
She only received what's left. That's all she received.
Right.
She never received anything else. She only received what's left. And you say that receiving what's left, it could be this nothing.
So she wasn't a muhzak on it,
So she's not a muhzak. So why
She's
she
not a
get-
muhzak
why
on
did
it.
the husband get?
because although she's not a muhzak, but she received it already before her death.
She received nothing. What did she receive? She didn't receive nothing. Nothing ishtayet. She received nothing. She's not muhzak. She shouldn't get nothing.
Since Lamaisa, the guy didn't retract, so she received something. But the only thing is, right now, there's this woman, this daughter that died. She's a muhzak in the chosim before she died. No. She's not muhzak, but still she got it. It means she got a promise. She's not muhzak, she's roi to it.
What changed in Avamina was...
It's not a bechoy, there's not yoresh or yoroi, only muhzak. He's tam a normal gift. So she got that promise through roi, and after the death of the grandmother, the husband gets because of the power of his wife, because his wife already got it as a roi while she was alive. Before the
What changed from Avamina was...
Now you're saying that...
What changed from Avamina was... Why the Avamina learned this?
What?
What changed from Avamina was... Beginning he wanted the kosher, had a question. Yesh lechalek.
okay.
So what
The
changed
kasha in the
from
beginning was, it seems by Safta, the fact that she can sell it doesn't make the second receiver, a muhzak. Also here, since the Jew, the Yisrael, can retract from the Matnas Kuna, so it shouldn't make the Kohen muhzak.
So really the Avamina, that Safta is really Muhzak. The woman, the daughter is Muhzak. The Avamina. Acharecho, she's Muhzak.
No, she's not muhzak. The law is she's not
What's the
muhzak.
kasha?
So since there she's not a muhzak, also here by Mekul Kodesh she'll be muhzak, and we know there is, because we get the Mechul gets double.
What's the noise of it? The noise is...
Noise is, does the Kohen muhzak or not?
Okay, not Safta. The kasha-
From Safta we prove that when you have an option to sell or retract, it doesn't make you a muhzak, because it's shaky. It's not for sure going to come to you. You cannot be a holder of something that's not for sure going to come to you. If I'm holding it strong, it's in my hand, it's for sure mine. But something that's maybe not going to come, because she could be says, no, I'm not a holder. So since option to sell makes the receiver not a holder, also by here, there's an option to retract and to give it to somebody else. So you're not a holder. That was the question. The answers there specifically is different, because there the gift was never gift. It was never given. The assets was never given to the second guy. Only what's left over. And if you retract, there's nothing there. She never received it.
And the Avamina, when it's
So it's an option. You didn't receive nothing. There's an option you receive something. There's an option you didn't receive nothing. So since now she didn't receive nothing, because she received whatever is left over, so she didn't receive anything. But by us, then by Kirikuna, you received. But I have an option to break it. At night to break it, but you receive. It's not a doubt. You got it, you have an option to break. When we need an exercise, an option. So it was always there. That's the concept of T'nai. What does T'nai mean? T'nai means it's a complete gift. I have an option to break it. What does to break it means? An outside force that breaks it. But as long as I didn't break it, it's a complete gift. It's not a doubt. T'nai condition is not a doubt. This is really the essence between the chidush of T'nai or Stamda. Right? That's the Toys and Ksubis, right? T'nai is really the mice is complete. It's not a suffix, maybe get, maybe fulfill the condition, maybe not. It's not a doubt. It's for sure an action is yours. Just have an option to break it. Like a bigger building and I have a hammer to break. It's not a doubtful building, yes or no.
But you're saying by the daughter, by the Safta case, you're saying that the daughter, I mean the husband can inherit what even she was never Muhzak, even she was never Muhzak because he inherits from the Meraui. So why don't you say the same thing about Matamot? He inherits from the Meraui.
No, that's the difference. They did in Yerusha there. You talk about Bechoy. Bechoy to get double, he cannot do it as Shiro, only Muhzak. Yes, because he owns it, right? Right? V'shaper mikre muchzok, af she'osovek shemayachzer bo anois. Me, however. Yes, Reb Shlomo. What do you want to say? Again, you make a chiluk between one and one. What do you want to say?
One is the difference. The chiluk is that one is actually the thing happened, and one is only it's considered it happened, never happened. With the mindset, he gave to the woman, to the grandmother. The other one he didn't give it. It's just considered like it was given theoretically.
No, we're saying also he is a complete kinyan. Yeah, but we already explained only the Maisa. That's already the culture we explained you don't need. Since you have a complete Milos Das, you don't need.
Right, but it still wasn't a Maisa. And the grandmother wasn't a Maisa.
True. But you know, if I don't need Shazis, I have it. If I don't need, I have it. The Yad Ramah speaks about how do I consider Eretz Israel? Eretz Israel is a something that we are holder, that gift of Eretz Israel to the Jewish people. Are we a muchzok in it or not? So the Yad Ramah says depends if it's a sofek or vaday. V'lo imikre muchzok, the Ramah says that I'm not considered a holder. Ele im adover vaday shlo yafkiu. It's only if for sure there's never a breaking away from the gift. Kemo like, b'magnas HaKadosh Baruch Hu Be'eretz Yisrael, Hashem's gifts to the Jewish people of the land of Israel. Hashem gave us a gift, the land of Israel. Devadai lo yachzor boy. The Yad Ramah says, God for sure never will retract the gift of the land of Israel to the Jewish people. Since he never retract, so it's not a sofik, it's vadai. Since the vadai, that's why it's a muhzok. But comes out, but if you could retract, according to the Yad Ramah, Belefiza, according to the Zemakir Kuno, that in name of the Yochalas, that it's possible to retract. If we're going to say it's possible to retract, Le'mikre muhzok. It's not considered muhzok. So according to the Yad Ramah, why by Eretz Yisrael, the Jewish people are muhzokim? Because Hashem promised he doesn't retract. But if there's an option to retract, it doesn't make you a muhzak. So makir kuna should be the same. We're not talking about acharecho, that originally, you know, not a muhzak because it's a suffix, because you never inherit only what's left over. It's a gift. And when you have an option to break the gift, it's not muhzak. It's also by makir kuna. It's a gift. When there's an option to retract, according to the Rama, it should be a muhzak. ואפשר שהרמוס, יד רמה סויביק של רבינו יוינו, שחולק התויספס. Could be the Yad Rama holds like Rabbeinu Yoina and argues on our toisvus. Vesvirele, and what does Rabbeinu Yoina hold? The makire kouno eno yochol lachzor. According to Rabbeinu Yoina, by makire kouno you cannot retract.
Even if you want to.
Let's open the Rabbeinu Yoina. You all have it printed. You have it printed, Rabbeinu Yoina, by us. Turn the page.
Yeah.
Aliyah is the Rabbeinu Yoina.
We learned it.
We never learned this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned it?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But let's see in Gimel and Rabbeinu Yoina. Makir Kuna. In Daf Gimel and Slabot Kashitz. In Rabbeinu Yoina. Aliyah is the Rabbeinu Yoina. We never learned this Rabbeinu Yoina. Yesh meforshim. Makir Kuna, yesh meforshim. There are those who explain. Reb Shlomo, you want to come back? Okay, so come back. B'makir Kuna, yesh meforshim, this is the Toisves. Keivan de mistomel oda bebalabait. See, it's most likely the balabait will not retract. Mistomel, most likely, ave muchzok, the Kohen, the Levi is a holder. Even though the Jew can retract. The Gasim Perikazov, we learned in Masechem HaMetzia. Yisrael Shomar ben Levi, a Jew that told the Kohen, ben Levi, Ku Maisesh Rabbi Yodi, I have a whole pile of grain of yours by my hands, which means I have something to give it to you. So that promise of a gift, or it's a Makir Kuno, Shai ben Levi, the ben Levi is permitted, La Soiso Trumas Maiser Mokomacher. He can take off Trumas Maiser on another pile that he needs to take off Trumas Maiser, he can make on the promise pile. So then, but, Nosno le ben Levi Acher, what happens if the Balabait retracts, he gives to another Levi? When it comes to reality, he doesn't give him the pile, the kur of grains, he gives to somebody else. So then, En lo ela v'taroi Mesionias complains, but he's allowed. So what do we see? Like Toises, that although that he could retract, but since he's not allowed to retract, the Jew, the Kohen is considered muhzak. Comes the Rabbeinu Yoina and he says, Umistabrolon, and it makes sense to us. Who's to us? To the Rabbeinu Yoina. Even since Yocho Balabai Lachzor Boy, since by a small gift the Balabai could retract, Eino Mamono Shazer Klal is not the money of this receiver at all. So then he has a problem. That's true. How can his firstborn son take from a double share? Is not his father to get a double share? That was whose question? The Ktois, the Kovetchurim, the Nesivas. Because of this question, Umashu Rashai, and why he's permitted la'asoiso trumas meiser el mokemacher. Why is allowed to do trumas meiser another place when it's not his money? It says for a different reason. It's like somebody takes off truma from his friend's pile with the permission of his friend, but really Really, it's not his. Since he most likely he will not retract, says I'm doing it with permission, but it's not really mine. But here is different. So he says I cannot follow Toisa's Dimyon. Toisa made a Dimyon that Makire Kuna is like a small gift. He says not true. By a small gift, the receiver is not an owner of that money. So how could it be similar? Here the coin needs to inherit his kids, his firstborn to get double. Means he has to be his money. And Matonim Moed is different. Matonim Moed is really not his, because the person can retract. And the reason why the Truma works, because he gave me permission. So I can take off Truma with permission. And I can rely that it won't retract from the permission. The fact he promised, he gave me permission, I can rely, although he could retract, but I can rely that it will not retract. Prohibit, but if he retract, halachically I don't have any monetary claim against it. It's not really my money. I can rely on that prohibition, and as if he gave me permission, I can rely on that permission. Wouldn't change the permission. I had a case, story, that one guy gave a living gift. You know, you have a living will to another person. But he says, anytime it can change. So that paper has any value? Yes, it has. It has a lot of value. You know why? There's a lot of value. You know why?
1% people die and you get it.
No! Because the article of the government says he only can retract in the same way he gave it. Which means that he gave it through a notary and 2 witnesses. The only way he can retract if he goes to a notary and brings 2 witnesses. That's easy to go notary. You have to spend money. You have to gather 2 witnesses. You can assume that he won't retract or not. That's our case. It's only gave him permission. He could retract. Maybe it's a prohibition in heaven, but you could retract. But to retract, it's complicated. You have to bring witnesses. You have to bring a notary. You have to spend money. Right? Okay, you could. Mistame won't retract. Can you go with that living will to a bank or not? There, that specific story was one little detail. The detail was that when somebody's giving a living will, is registered in the government's offices, and everyone can go in and find it. So as long as you don't find a retraction, you can assume that it's there. Maybe this minute is processing a retraction, but as long as it's not processed there, it's not retracted. So here I can rely, since there's an issue to retract. He could retract, cannot demand. If he doesn't, I cannot find it. But he could, but Lamaisi he didn't. And I can realize I gave you permission. But here, it doesn't work. Here, by a gift of Matona Manaskuna, in order to give that inheritance to your firstborn son to get double, you need to own it. Cannot be a permission. It has to be ownership. Why by us, by Makirekun, I consider the father Cohen, Levi, to be a muhzak, and even though never reach the hands of the father. She argues on Toises. There's a different smoke. Mishum, because the Makirekun. Now, by the way, Moshe, if somebody promises a living will to charity, he's allowed to retract? Yes, I cannot. Nobody can demand that he cannot legally can retract, but there's a prohibition. Because your mouth is at tzedakah, right? That's exactly the case here. There's a prohibition to retract, halachically. You could retract. It means monetary-wise you can retract, but prohibition-wise you cannot because you promised to tzedakah. So he says, Mishum the Makira Kuuna by friends of priesthood. Once the animal was slaughtered, he cannot retract. Halachically, not monetary wise, not only prohibit isur v'heter wise, also monetary wise. Why? Because we all like Rabbi Yosi, as the Gemara in Gittin brings a couple of answers. Why he can mafrish truman ma'aser, or because makiri kuno, or because the Oma also they made one who could not zoiche like zoiche. In many places, they made a takono that one is not zoiche, they made a sif zoiche. It's a takono, a rabbinic takono. So he wants to say, Makire Kuhuno, mitzad deoraisa is not his money. Mitzad derabonon, that they made a takono, so it becomes his. Once they do shchita, becomes his, he cannot retract. Rabbinic. Rabbinically, it's its money, and therefore the Bechor, once midarabonon, it belongs to the father, the Bechor becomes a double share. Midoraisa. Because once midarabonon, let's say I get a gift midarabonon from the rabbis, then to inherit it is midoraisa. Because once it's mine, it's mine. Doesn't matter how it came to me. It came through the rabbis. So what comes out? Rabbeinu Yoino argues on Toises. According to Toises, Makire Kuno is not yours. It doesn't belong. The money, Eino Mamona Shel Koyen. It's not the money of Kohen. So then he has a problem. If this is true, and he can retract, it's not the money of the Kohen. How can he give it inheritance? Who has his kasha? The Kohen Shurim against the Ksois. So because of this question, the Rabbeinu argued, and he said, Makir Kuna after the Shechita is a Takona de Rabbonon, that it is the money of the father. If the father, the animal was slaughtered in the life of the father, even though he didn't receive it, the money of the Shechita, Takona de Rabbonon, the father owns it. So it's money, mitzad Rabban is the money of the Kohen. Therefore, he can give the inheritance to a Kohen, a double share. It's a very hard answer, but that's the way the Rabbinu answers. Comes a Kohen, Toises didn't hell. We don't know what Toises holds. We can hold like the Ktsois, that even though it's not his money, as long as you're muhzak on money, even though you don't own it, you can do inheritance. That's a Ktsois. And the Kohen Shurim says no, because there's a prohibition to retract. Is like yours. With a t'nai. With a t'nai. That's all.
So this really also in here that when you know
comes the Kohen Shurim, and he says that the Yad Rama that says that but by a gift of Eretz Yisrael. Why when we got the land of Israel, when Hashem promised us the land of Israel, are the Jewish people our holders of the land or just throwing? The Yad Rama says we are in the land of Israel, we are muhzak. Because Hashem cannot retract. Mashma, that there's a possibility to retract. We're not a muhzok. So also here, like Toy says, as long as there's a possibility, should be muhzok. So therefore he's not. He answers no. That the Yad Rama holds like the Rabbeinu Yoino, that what? That Rabbeinu Yoino holds that midarabonon shecholek al Toyses svirele. I'm reading back in Shurim. This is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines on the bottom. The Svirele, he holds the Makire Kuno, Eino Yochol Achzor, he cannot retract. Midarabonon. So since he cannot Midarabonon, so therefore he becomes a Muchzok, and he's a real owner. But there's a problem. Shita Sarama, Koshe V'Sepel Kasholeach.